A very good Sunday afternoon, my people. And now we all know the routine. Let's start with our breathing exercise. This is based on Taoist longevity breathing exercise. And what we do is we put our legs shoulder width, arms naturally up as we are hugging a tree. Close your eyes. We'll breathe in with our nose, out with our mouth, as deep as we can. We'll do 10 times together. Now we're going to do our part 2, 10 energy movements. We'll do 5 in each movement. In this movement, we're strengthening our fascia system, our triple burner, our lymph, also set up a boundary, energy boundary for ourselves. In this movement, we're opening up our lungs and colon. Now it is fall season. It is so important to do this movement. Also, we activate our immune system. This movement, one hand touch sky, The other hands touch the earth. The energy of the sky and earth. And we're balancing our whole gut system. If people have gas, and this one will help. And sometimes in the fall, people burp more and then release more gas. They're all melted, so make sure you release gas. And in this movement, we'll balance our 7 basic emotions, and also if you have neck pain, upper shoulder tightness, spine inflammation, and this is a good movement to do. And in this movement, if we have intestinal inflammation and stagnation, heart fire, when people have heart fire, and they will have a symptom of easily to get frustrated, upset, sleep disturbance. Those are all symptoms of heart fire. In this movement, we're strengthening our dual meridian line and also stretch out our tendon. If people have back tightness or restless legs, and this will help too. Strengthen the tendon is very important because that also will help with the fascia. Now our liver system. Now, if you have prostate inflammation, pelvic floor inflammation, uterus inflammation, bladder inflammation, or kidney stones, and this will help. Okay. Now the next two movements, longevity movements, also strengthen your radial lines, your two radial lines, and your Ren radial lines, the 6 arm radial lines, and leg radial lines. Your forehead, touch your knee. The last movement, your forehead to the earth, we say. And then we'll do it slowly, do it controlled way, and you can see all the meridian lines are opening up. Now we'll do 5 seconds, hold 5 seconds. Very good. Now we'll hold for 7 seconds. Very good. Now the last one, we'll hold for 10 seconds. Make sure get your water. Let's bring some water together. And I have a piece of lemon in it. So today we'll begin to talk about the fall, autumn. So what is it that what is the characteristic of the fall? And what is it, according to traditional Chinese medicine, we feel is important for people to know? So you see, the old school, this is the old way of writing, right? So when I was learning all these years, and we will write up things like this, right? The old times, and we write from top to bottom, right? This direction. So what does that say? So it says, 秋三月，子谓荣平. So what does that mean? 3 months of fall. This 3 months that Rong is very important for people to learn to do, and Ping is very important for people to learn to do. What is Rong? Rong is Rongna. Rongna is learn to be tolerant. So because now the energy has changed, we'll talk more about the energy change. So now it's fall. In this season, in this 3 months, it is very important for people to be tolerant, to learn how to be tolerant. So Ping means Sheng Ping. What is Sheng? Sheng is that if you are tolerant, you learn to be tolerant, then you shall receive abundance, because the nature is about to produce abundance to us. So for us to receive that, we must have a basic quality of tolerance. So then we shall have peace within. So the tolerance we have is not just, oh, I tolerate you, but the tolerance is the first step of learning. Tolerance is to discover oneself, to really go within, to change within. So that is important, because this is a season of quite rapid change. So we must learn to change within, to learn to be tolerant with ourselves and with each other. So then we shall receive abundance, then we shall have peace. So during this time, it says, 天气以及地气以平. So what does 天气以及 means? Means that this 3 months, it's no longer supposedly, right? It's supposedly no longer to be wet, because the dampness and the spleen energy, reduced dampness, that's already supposed to be happened, supposed to be done. Now, when we look outside, this 3 months supposed to be, we say, the sky is high, the earth is deep, right? That means that it's such an energy as crisp as the metal. So the energy, the outside energy, we call Zao. Zao is a positive energy that produces abundance and change. So, but at the same, if we do not balance ourselves, if we do not balance within, then what would we get? We would get, we call a different type of Zao. That Zao is that we will be so restless. And then because we will feel so restless, then we create another imbalance in ourselves. That's fun. Fun is you feel your heart is not, you cannot hold your heart, right? You always, you have concerns, you have fear, and you don't know what's going to happen, and that's fun. Fun and Zao together, that in the fall, a lot of people have that. So in traditional Chinese medicine, when one feels so not grounded, so have very little willpower and have very little stability, so you know that it's a imbalance between the heart system and the kidneys. In the fall, that is likely to happen, especially if the weather is not as, it's not what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be, this season is supposed to be a very dry season. It's supposed to be, you feel the air is, the sky is high, the earth is deep, right? You're not supposed to have a lot of rain and a lot of fires, feel a lot of flood. So these are the imbalances in nature that will cause imbalances in us, because again, we are a part of nature. So what we will need to do is we go back to say, we must learn to make sure we hold energy, begin to hold energy within, and we must make sure that we practice a sense of tolerance, and then we shall receive abundance and we shall have peace in us. So in the summer and in the spring, we can get up a little bit, go to bed a little bit later and get up a little bit, sometimes a little bit earlier, but it's you can go to bed a little bit later. But in the fall, you will need to go to bed early. You need to go to bed early. You need to wake up early. That we call, you need to get up with the roosters. And the roosters, and they are pretty early risers, right? So that is very important, because you want your energy, instead of pouring the energy out as summertime, you want to hold your energy within. So, and so I think I'm just trying to see how much we can go through this fall. You see, this is what we say, that you need to get up early and you need to go to bed early, right? And you need to learn from the roosters. And then why we're doing that? Because you want 实质安宁. What that means is that you want to make sure that you feel grounded and you feel very stable. and you begin to hold energy within, right? And then that will prepare for a good winter. If you let the energy out too soon, too early, and that will cause imbalances. One, it causes imbalances, then what that means is that we say the reason we really want to practice tolerance, we want to have the willpower, the whole energy within, so we shall have abundance, we shall have peace, because the fall, these 3 months, they're twofold, right? One is what we just mentioned, and then the other one is the earth has this, because this is an element of Jin. Jin is metal. Metal, think about any type of metal, right? Has 2 purposes. One is Cong as you protect yourself. The other is Ge, you use as a weapon to harm, right? So or to change, because Ge, that means revolution is Ge. That means you change so dramatically, right? You create a revolution. So the fall has this character. On the one hand, if we practice tolerance, have stability, have peace in us, then the fall, nature will give us abundance. If we do the other way around, if we do not practice tolerance, we have this restless in us. We are so short-tempered. We are pretty much, if you look at a lot of behaviors outside, then you know we're going to promote the other side of the fall. That is Qiuxing. Qiuxing is, you see, the old times that when someone was given a death penalty, they're not just to kill you any time of the year. They kill you in the fall. So the fall is a season of using the weapon. So that if we are so reckless, if we don't practice tolerance, we shall not have no peace. Then what we will together promote in nature will be the killing side, will be the one that we say Qiuxing. Qiuxing is that there will be war, there will be revolution, there will be the huge commotions. So you see, that's how nature and us, we are connected, right? So what we should do is we should practice holding the energy within, a lot of meditation, a lot of deep breathing, and make sure that we know this is a season could promote the other side, but we will do whatever we can not to get there. Because if together we get there, then the results won't be desirable for all. So we will talk a little bit about the fall next time as well. But today I do want you to make sure you practice certain things that can really hold energy within. So I'm going to teach you something not new. One is we're reviewing that, right? Because the fall is a long and cold season. So all of us don't have one yet, make sure you get one, right? Make sure you pet, do the meridian line petting, right? Meridian line petting. So that's one thing you will need to do. It's very important. The other one you will need to do is make sure you empty your colon. Otherwise, you're going to have a lot of air and gas, and then the energy is going to easily go to the wrong direction. So by doing that, we're doing the squatting. Remember, I taught you how to squat, right? So this is how you squat. And you, if it's difficult for you, you can pull your, your heel up. You can use your toe to squat. If you're comfortable, you can just use the whole feet and squat. Put your arms like this and look ahead. Yeah. So if every day you do a minute or two in the morning, and that will be very helpful to reduce the intestinal stagnation, because the fall is the long season and then the colon season. And then the third thing I want you to do, this is a new thing I will teach you, is that I want you to withhold and really nurture the yin energy by really we call that a holy rolling. Roll on your spine. So I will show you how we do that. Kind of when you want to roll with me. You see, it is very simple. You put your legs up. You see how you hold your legs, right? And hold it up to your chest as close as you can, and then roll. Roll. You see it clearly how I roll? And then eventually we'll be able to roll like this. So if you can roll in the morning or before you go to bed 15 to 20 times, just roll it like that. And that will help to exercise the whole spine, and also that help to open up the whole due meridian line and then the bladder line. So every day, right, if someone can help you to do the skin rolling, that's a part of the things you are really activate the whole immune system, right? And then the other is you do this rolling that will help to create healthy yang energy, but also help to nurture the yin energy within. That is what we're supposed to be doing in the fall. So I will leave some time for a question today, and the next time we'll talk about what else we should be doing in the fall, and also we will show you some kind of cooking, what kind of ingredients is important to have in the fall.
Thank you so much, Dr. Liu. I don't know if I'm getting a little bit ahead of the plans here, but I'm thinking of the idea of tolerance relating to like temperament. And then I'm thinking of the word moderation in terms of maybe food, in terms of sleeping, in terms of physical activity. Would that be a correct analogy or no?
Tolerance is that really include all the above, right? And because fall is such an energy, sometimes it could be very strong, sometimes, and that's another important thing in the fall is to set up boundaries, right? Always set up boundaries and look within, and not when other people who are not aware of the importance of being tolerant, that if they give you a hard time and try not to engage, right? But rather look within and says, oh, okay, so if I have to change, let's change within. And then always sleep early, get up early is important. Seasonal food is important. We have this beautiful farmers market and go and get some seasonal food and eat, yes, do everything in moderation. Nothing is supposed to be so-called good or bad for you. If we do it in moderation and eat it seasonally, that's all we can do. And then that will help you to create certain sense of stability. And that it really is important in the fall. So then you shall receive the abundance, the harvest, because you have peace, you have the stability.
Dr. Lu, what is it about the fall that has this sort of, I don't want to say duality, but this sort of ability to be one way, if not nourished properly, to have such extremes of either peaceful, tolerance like you're describing, or this like really intense energy of war and if not abundance, then maybe scarcity. Is it because it's a in between? I'm sort of thinking of it, is it because it's an in-between season between summer and winter, or what is it about the energy of the fall?
It is just what it is. That is the observation we made over the centuries. We say that fall has this, Jin is the energy of metal. And also if you put an animal, that's the white tiger, right? Baihu. And that Baihu, you see, if you look at the tiger, even they are different than, what is it that one must bow to a tiger? It's because of the energy, the keen energy, the killing energy. That one, tigers, they withhold that energy very well, but when you look at them, you just have natural fear, natural respect. That's the season that we must, if it's not anything else, we must have the natural respect of nature. Because if we still really feel we can do whatever we want, this is the season the nature will take. So that's why I'm really trying to encourage all of you to understand the importance of practicing, look what is within, right? Hold our energy within, set up boundaries. And that's why in the fall, if you study history, a lot of wars always start at fall. Why? Because people's energy, collective energies easily be off, and then one that can be easily misused by a small group of people who wants to have this gain, right? So they send people out to war. So what do you do to balance that? So the ancient times, we get young men engaged, we get them married out. So instead of sending them to the war, we say, okay, so why don't we help you to marry out? We marry you out and use your energy that way. But at the same time, the fall is a season, if you are single, the fall is where sexual energy should only be used for reproductive reasons when you try to create a baby. So if you are pleasuring yourself, man and woman, this is the season you really should do as little as possible to reserve that energy instead of letting it out. So that is something that these are just the things that the old times, if you look at our ancestors, what they did and why they do certain things, and really is that's really why.
Dr. Lu, if we're not doing a good job of keeping that energy within, how does that affect how we are prepared for winter?
That's then we will with us, with our group, with my people, we are practicing the 小周天, the small, safe environment, because I want all of you at least to practice that. If we don't, then, well, one possibility is that we will not have abundance, right? And collectively, and the other possibilities will have less and less peace, right? Collectively. And so these are the things that I think we should do our part, try to avoid. And then the fall is people have so much, we call that 躁. 躁 is reckless and restlessness and recklessness. And then we shall not to engage those behaviors, right? So that's why 从 is we protect ourselves, use that to protect ourselves, but also when we practice that, we hold the energy within. When people hold energy within, we say then this is really someone is ready to fight, but yet not fight. So fall is such a season that if we work together, we shall have a good harvest, we shall have the abundance. So that's really why it's important for us to send the energy out. Look within, do not engage, knowing people, if they practice that, we leave them be. We create a safe environment for ourselves. Then at least our people will have peace and abundance.
And I think it goes without saying, Dr. Liu, when you're referring to abundance, that we're also talking about physical well-being, physical health.
That what abundance would do, are we thinking about?
Yes, okay. Okay, very good. I'm sorry, Dr. Liu, I don't know if my question maybe wasn't so clear. I guess what I was trying to get at is when we're not holding that energy within, then we leave ourselves also physically susceptible to possible illness or.
Yes. Then the fall, as you see, a lot of people are, it's like if they have the old kind of the real current symptoms, either GI problems or mental instability or depression, all this, and in the fall is likely to occur, right? So that's why I want you to roll, I want you to squat, I want you to roll, so I want you to pad. So all these things that will help you to ease that possibility.
Now, part of the rolling that you did, Dr. Liu, you said to activate yang energy and also hold the yin within.
Yep.
So how does that relate to physical activity? Should that also be moderate? I mean, we have a question about exercise, whether or not we ought to increase or decrease aerobic exercise.
In the fall, exercise is fine, but you shouldn't really be sweating too much, right? And because summer is the time you should sweat out. Now the fall, let's do the exercise, gentle exercise, and walking is good, yoga is good. If you want to get your cardio, but it need not to be so much, right? If you give out too much energy, then that's not, we're trying to hold within. So that's really is the key. So I would say that if you are a regular walker, that's great. If you are a regular meditator, you should increase that, and make sure we drink enough water, make sure we go to bed early and get up early. So these are the important things.
I wish I had a rooster in my backyard, Dr. Liu. Might make things a little bit easier. Thank you so much, Dr. Liu. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Liu.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Thank you, Sarah. Love you.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Dr. Liu.
Thank you. Staying up at 4 o'clock in the morning and walking the premises in the pitch black of night.
Thank you, Dr. Liu.
Thank you, Dr. Lou. Thank you, Sarah.